My name is Michael Mastro. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to look at the controversial figure Alexei Navalny, who is an activist in Russia. Um, if you look to the Eastern Horizon when he was born, according to Jyotish or Vedic Astrology, using a sidereal zodiac, not the Western zodiac, you would see the constellation associated with Virgo, rising at 5 degrees. This 5-degree rising sign is the most effective point of every house. In other words, any planet like Mercury, like Saturn, like Moon, that's close to that 5 degrees, within 5 degrees of that orb, has a lot of impact in the chart. We're going to first look and see how the planets are operating, then we're going to look and see when the planets are operating, and then we'll look and see what could be done to remedy the chart so this person has less suffering in his life. So first of all, we look to see where the Multikona signs fall and which houses they're in, and because those are the houses that he would be working on in this lifetime in terms of lessons. So what I mean by Multikona signs, many planets rule two signs. Like, for example, Venus rules the second sign of Taurus and the seventh sign of Libra. Venus itself is all about relationships, and so is Libra. So Libra becomes the Multikona sign for Venus. And likewise, Saturn rules Aquarius and Capricorn. Aquarius becomes the Multikona sign. Mars rules Aries and Scorpio. Aries becomes the Multikona sign. Mercury rules Virgo, the sixth sign, and also it rules Gemini, the third sign, and Virgo becomes the Multikona sign. So let's just look and see. Virgo's in the first house. First house is all about how people see us, our worthiness in the world, our longevity, our life purpose. So his life purpose definitely connected to Virgo, which has to do with serving humanity. Then we have the seventh sign of Libra in the second house. So second house has to do with wealth and status, reputation, and speech. He has a very powerful, charismatic, persuasive speech. Then we have Jupiter ruling the fourth house. Fourth house is happiness, home life, and Jupiter has to do with justice. Very, happiness comes through his seeking of justice. Then we have the 11th sign Aquarius in the sixth house. Sixth house has to do with enemies and conflicts and legal issues. Got lots of legal issues. Then we have the first sign of Aries in the eighth house. Death-like experiences, uncovering the truth, justice. Then we have the fourth sign of Cancer in the 11th house. This house has to do with connections, income, fulfillment of desires. Then we have the fifth sign of Leo in the 12th house. 12th house has to do with spiritual growth. And also it has to do with prison. So there is some possibility of that in his chart. Let's look and see how the planets are operating individually. So Sun is at 20 degrees, and it is any Multikona sign in the 6th, 8th, or 12th house can cause some challenges in the life. And for Virgos, they have Saturn becomes malefic, Mars becomes malefic, and Sun becomes malefic. So Sun can cause some issues. Gives him, it's placed in the 9th house of government, so it gives him some political leadership abilities. Let's see here. And because it has to do with the 12th house, there's some possible foreign influence, possible prison issues, and possible support from other governments. It is conjunct Venus, so some influence to Venus there. We'll talk about that in a minute. So Moon is at 6 degrees, close to the most effective point. Very powerful in this chart. And it's ruling the house of income, and it's placed in the 12th house. So income through public speaking, being critical of the government, working for the people, for the masses. Um, it involves his elder. This also is the house of elder brothers. His elder brother was jailed. So interesting that Moon is in that 12th house. Mars is again ruling this house of death-like experiences, transformations. Gives him courage. It's placed in the house of income, so courage to reveal. This is also research. To reveal the truth about corruption in the government. In this case, Mercury is at 1 degree. Any planet that's less than 5 degrees or more than 25 is said to be in infant state or old age and has trouble protecting and promoting its own significations. So Mercury is ruling the house of life purpose, placed in the house of politics and government and law. So he's a lawyer, and gives him, some persuasive but controversial speech. And he's very critical. Mercury makes you critical of government. Then we have Jupiter is at 22 degrees. It's ruling the house of happiness, home life, property, and it is placed in this house of drama, death-like experiences. So, Jupiter itself, it has to do with law and justice, and he gets happiness through, trying to find justice for the common people. But there are some possibilities. It's afflicted by K2, so unexpected events like prison can happen. And also, he was poisoned. They put poison in his underwear, and he almost died. So then we have Venus is at 16 degrees, and it is afflicted by Sun. So it brings that, possible separation, prison influence onto Venus. Venus is your reputation and wealth and the stability of the marital bond. So here we have this possible separation from the marriage due to being in prison. And then we have, his reputation being afflicted by Sun. And then we have Saturn's at 6 degrees, close to the most effective point, ruling the house of service and conflicts and delays, disputes, and health issues, placed in the house of income. So his income, again, comes through this service to the masses. Rahu and Ketu. Rahu gives that desire for a strong reputation, and Ketu gives insights into revealing the truth about corruption. And then, this is the house of secrets, secret corruption. So then let's look at the timing of events. So in 2013, he was sentenced to prison for embezzlement, some investment he made. And that was during a Moon K2 period. So K2, unexpected events, death-like experience, prison. And then, because Moon is in the house of prisons. Then we have August 2020, he was poisoned and almost died on an airplane Um, the plane flew him to Germany, where he was treated just in time and stayed alive. That was during a Mars K2 period. So again, Mars, death-like experience, K2, death-like experience, unexpected events. And Rahu and K2 were at the most effective point at that point in the transit chart, afflicting the 6th, 8th, and 12th houses. So end of life, death-like experiences, health issues. Then more recently, just a few days ago, he was sentenced again. He came back after he survived that almost death-like experience and came back to Russia and was immediately put in prison and given a sentence of 3 years, I think, or something. And so if we look at the transit chart, for, I think it was yesterday, so we see that Mars and K2 are afflicting each other in this house of death-like experiences. And Mars is also afflicting Moon. And let's see, Sun. Yeah, I think that's the main thing. So thank you for listening, and we hope that this is not the end of the story and there's a better outcome. Maybe he will be freed. He has a lot of popularity in Russia. A lot of people were protesting, so hopefully some good thing happens. If we look at the transits, he will be going into a sun period, but that could be in prison. But after that, in 2022, he could be freed during possibly a moon period. Thank you again for listening.